Now, I'm joined by Ramneek Bakhshi, Managing Director of real estate agency LJ Hooker India, to talk a little bit about how asset prices have increased in India as a whole and whether that is flowing over into real estate stocks, as measured by the Sensex, up 60% so far this year. Mr. Bakhshi, very good day. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Are we seeing this? Are we seeing real estate prices rise in line with stocks?
Yes and no. It depends on which sector you're looking at. The big change in India in the last few months has been a positive sentiment that is developing. And I think if you look at the residential market, probably we have reached the bottom. There may be some slack still on the commercial side of the business.
Yeah, that's right. So you're saying we've got retail sector looking weak because of oversupply, commercial property sales still pretty slow, but the residential market firming. Let's take a look at that residential market in that case. Where are you seeing the greatest strength? Which kind of cities?
What's happened in the last few months is that the large developers have been able to restructure their debt. And that's been reflected in the stock prices also. If you looked at the Unitex and the DLFs of the world, the stocks have firmed up quite considerably. That's basically because they were able to sort out their debt issues and cash flow problems. Till some months ago, there was doubt whether some of the projects they had taken up would be completed or not. But now it seems that most of the projects which were online would be completed. And that has given a positive sentiment to the market. Also, there is actual latent demand in India for affordable housing. So though maybe at the very premium end, there may not be that much demand, a large number of developments are now taking place at the medium and so-called entry-end levels. And there continues to be demand in that side of the business.
What about in terms of, cities? I think Bangalore is one you like, correct?
Yes, I find Bangalore market the most firm of the major metros at the moment. But Bombay is also continuing to trade. Maybe the Noida market and Gurgaon may be a little slow at the moment because of oversupply. But I think it's only a matter of months before the residential side starts firming up. There has been a lot of supply on the commercial side. Yeah, Mumbai. Exactly.
Right, that's for Mumbai, but Delhi's slow, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
What's driving this? Obviously, like any retail, like any real estate market around the world, you have a mix of people who are buying to live and people who are buying as an investment, purely as an investment. What's the kind of split at the moment, and where are you seeing the best price moves?
Well, the purchases are being made by actual users at the moment. There has been some churn by the investors in the past because they bought for investment and they found their investments going down. So they are actually exiting the business to actual users. It's quite an interesting confluence in India to buy residential property at this moment. You have interest rates coming down. The government has again announced only a few days ago, the finance minister, that he has requested banks to lower their interest rates. Today's paper projects GDP growth to go up as high as 8 and even 9% in the coming months. The prices are already at 30% or even 40% below their peak. So I would estimate that this would be a pretty good time to buy residential properties in a market like India.
Okay, now there's a question about how you go about buying homes at the moment. I mean, most people around the world, they go and visit, they put a bid in, they negotiate with the seller, and you reach a price or you don't. LJ Hooker has introduced silent bidding in India. How does that work?
Yes, that's a new concept, and it seems to have caught on quite well. The idea over here was that many developers were willing to give discounts on their prices, but they didn't want to announce it in the market. The silent bid allows a potential buyer to make a bid for a property at a price that he's comfortable with. And so we open a bid, the customers make a bid for a particular apartment or a villa or a house, and then it's up to the developer to consider which of the bids he wants to accept. But while doing so, he doesn't announce to the public at which price he sold the business. So both the sides win. The developer is able to offload his stock at lower than market price without damaging the credibility of his project. And the purchaser sometimes gets a very good price for a product which he's comfortable with because he's made a bid that he says is a fair bid for me.
Okay. Let's get some emails because we've got a few coming in on the Indian real estate market. So let's find out what we've got here at the moment. This one comes from Bhupender, who says, what would a good hedge be against inflation in India, especially considering absence of tips, kinds of bonds, etc.? Is real estate a good hedge against inflation?
Yes, I mean, it's one of the best hedges in my opinion.
Okay, that's an easy answer. Bhupender, the best hedge against inflation is real estate. Another one from Lalit, who says, I've got a couple of properties in Maharashtra area of India. I want to sell them and buy in the US. Is now the right time to do that?
Yes, I think there is opportunity in the US if you're taking a long-term view. I'm not very familiar with the US market, whether the prices have bottomed out, whether there is still some slack in the market.
Okay, I have a nasty feeling that we have... Yeah. Okay, and we have one more email. This one comes from Kumar, who says, how big is the risk of recession causing defaults in home loan repayments in India?
No, I think the Indian home loan business is well protected. The Reserve Bank has done a very good job, and I think everybody acknowledges the fact that Indian banks have not had the contagion that the Western banks went through because of the policies of the Reserve Bank of India in protecting the Indian business environment. So I don't think that is really a risk one would really have to factor in. I don't think so at all.
Okay, and an email from Frank who says, what does the commercial real estate landscape look like in India? Is it cyclical? Are cap rates applicable? I'm not really sure what a cap rate is, but is it a cyclical market?
Sorry, what was that? Is it
a cyclical market in India, would you say? In that case, and if so, are we on an upcycle?
Yes, but I think we're not in an upcycle on the commercial side. Usually you could buy commercial real estate in India and get a 10-11% return. But today the demand is not there. I think that many of the Western companies which would have come to India and set up offices are probably busy sorting out their own issues back home. And unless they start moving in. However, a lot of investment has taken place in India. About $5 billion have come in the last few months only. It was in the newspapers again. And so the sentiment is moving in that direction, but maybe not on commercial real estate yet.
Okay, Mr. Bakhshi, thank you very much indeed for your time. Ramneek Bakhshi, Managing Director of LJ Hooker India, the real estate agency.